Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing.
streaming. Okay, members, agenda item 1, apologies stroke opening announcements. Just before I go to the floor, I have an apology from the Vice Chair, Councillor Jude Mallon, from Councillor Saoirse Eastwood, from Alderman Paul. Sorry, I do apologise. I normally get it right, Councillor Salvage, but thank you, Sorka. McGowan, yep. That's a Freudian slip there. And also Alderman Paul Barry and Councillor Liam Mackle, our apologies. Also, members, be mindful that we have Councillor Ashley Mallon and Alderman Margaret Tinsley online. There's no other requests to speak. So, agenda item 2, declarations of interest, and we can take these now, or we can take those as we go through the meeting. Everybody happy? Okay. Agenda item 3, which are the annual business plans. They're an item for information, and I'm going to bring in the Director, Paul Tomati.
Thank you, Chair. Members, you'll be aware that we bring a progress report on our business plans for the Directorate at this time every year. I'll take the report as read. If there's any queries, officers are here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Members, any questions or queries? Councillor Armstrong.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Paul. Just in relation to a couple of the points that have sort of, obviously, is the red flags always are the ones that stand out the most. But to be fair, there's a lot of green. We're hitting a lot of targets within both of the papers, but it's just around the personal development conversations with staff. I note that we are not reaching our targets on both aspects of these papers. Just want to understand what's the reason behind that. I know I think there was staff absences and sicknesses and maternity leave, but just so you shed a bit more light on that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Armstrong. Yeah, listen, incredibly important. The PDCs and officers are working through those. It's not just the absence of maybe employees, absence sometimes of line managers and those sorts of things too that impact that. But yeah, listen, we're endeavouring to improve that as we move forward and get those conversations had, which are vitally important. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Councillor Armstrong, want back in again?
Yep, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Paul. And just in relation to, obviously catching up, there's obviously these personal development conversations. They're very important within council to iron out any issues that may have. So we just want to make sure that that is concentrated on going forward. That any issues that are arising are dealt with in the proper manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong. Paul, you happy to leave it? Yeah. Next up, Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Chair, for bringing me in, and thank you to Paul and Nicola and Brian for the reports. There is so much to celebrate in these reports. You can see the progress that both teams are making, whether it's from the F.E. McWilliam Gallery in Banbridge to the Heritage consultation that staff has taken on board as one of the first councils to avail of this funding. There is lots of really positive stuff from both departments. I have a couple of questions for both departments, largely minor. For economic development, just in terms of the ABC card, it's really good to see the number of businesses that have taken that on board. And I just wanted to get some reassurance about, as we approach to Christmas, how we're going to bring in customers to that so that we can encourage purchase of the ABC gift card. It's a really good time to do that, and some information on that would be good. And then on the second point in the economic development business plan, just around the progress to identify a feasibility of a place plan initiative, which is one of the objectives, and those place plan initiatives are in Armagh, Banbridge and Dromore. And I'm just wondering, is there an update on that? And in terms of tourism, One of the objectives here, Brian, is to promote and support the borough's city, towns and villages. And at the risk of sounding really repetitive on this, there is great frustration, I think, within members, including myself, around the digital communications that tourism use and that they're not representative of the entire borough. Those digital communications should represent all areas and all residents, and they're quite fragmented. And I would like to ask, is there any updates or thoughts on visitarmagh.com and how tourism digital communications can be extended to promote all tourism themes across the borough? Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Ferguson, thank you for that. There's a number of issues and questions in there, Councillor Ferguson, so I'm looking at officers. Who's going to lead off? Okay, Elaine, we'll bring you in first, please. Elaine Cole.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Ferguson, for your question in terms of the gift card. Look, we have been really delighted with the success of the gift card to date. There's been huge uptake by retail businesses across the borough. We have nearly 180 businesses signed up, but obviously now our focus is on trying to sell that gift card to consumers. So we will be having an active role in all of the light switch-ons. So we will actually have a stand at the artisan food and craft markets as part of the Christmas light switch-ons, where we will be actively promoting the gift card. There will be a call out on the night of all the light switch-ons from the MC about trying to promote the gift card, highlighting the special offers and trying to ensure that the money is kept local and people are actually buying in their local towns. As part of the communication strategy and plan for Christmas 2025, you will see a number of posts will be going out on social media, both on our corporate Facebook page and on Urban ABC. And again, the message will be to buy local, to shop local, to Christmas shop in your local shops. And we have been working with the retailers, those 180 who have signed up, and they have stickers and they have been trained on how to actually get people signed up, and there will be lots more PR around that. So hopefully that answers your question. Thank you, Councillor Ferguson.
Okay, Elaine, thank you for that. Councillor Ferguson, on that specific one, are you wanting back in? No. Okay, thank you. Then going to bring in Head of Economic Development, or Paul, Director first.
Thank you, Chair. Just Councillor Ferguson, just looking for some clarity. Your second was about place plans, or was it about the economic delivery plan?
Paul, it did mention place plans, if I'd read this correctly, in the business plan, okay. And it referred to the identification of the feasibility of one initiative from the place plans.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Chair. Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Councillor Ferguson. We have mentioned in the business plan around deliver a range of regeneration projects across the borough, supported by DFC, and we were talking about the place plan initiative for Armagh, Banbridge and Dromore. And we actually had a meeting yesterday around our strategic investment group, and one of the messages that one of the projects that we are working on is collating projects across the borough that are within our place plans, and seeing where we could put them for additional funding. And one of those projects was the idea of perhaps a shopfront improvement scheme. Now I know my colleague Elaine Gillespie is helping to compile that list that is going on to the DFC Forward Work Plan, but that was the one initiative that we are working with colleagues to try and progress that covers all the place plans.
Okay, Nicola, thank you for that. And on that specific one, Councillor Ferguson, happy enough? Okay, well then, on your third one, I'm going to bring in Head of Tourism, Brian Johnson. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Ferguson. When we discussed this previously in terms of the Visit Armagh branding or whatever, I think it was agreed that we would align with the Northern Ireland tourism strategy as it was developing, and I think it's been a wee bit slow getting off the ground in terms of some of the actions. There's been a number of conversations with Tourism Northern Ireland. They have identified that they will identify destinations, as they call them, across Northern Ireland, and they might not naturally sit alongside council boundaries, so there might be a bit of overlap with other council boundaries. The Director and I actually have a meeting with the Chief Executive of Tourism NI tomorrow. Tourism NI Board is down in Armagh tomorrow for their meeting, and they asked to meet in the Palace, so they're in the Palace tomorrow, and then following that we have a meeting with the Chief Executives at which we'll discuss that issue in terms of those destinations. So they've sent something through as a very tentative opening letter for what's happening, and I think Paul and I will explore that tomorrow if that's in order, and then the plan would be to bring back a report as to what way that is evolving, because it is moving now, and they're starting to identify these destinations, and it's how we would, I think, again, which other areas we'll be aligned with and how that works from a Northern Ireland PLC piece. Thank you.
Okay, Brian, thank you. Councillor Ferguson, you want back in again?
Thank you for that, Brian. And I know we've had this discussion in the Chamber before, and we wanted to see the Northern Ireland Tourism Strategy. We do see that now. It is in our papers tonight. One of the strategic aims of the tourism strategy is regional balance. And I think there is a point of consideration here for council members. While it is important we collaborate with Northern Ireland Tourism and that particularly strategy, it is up to us as a council to represent our tourism offering right across the borough for all areas, because we know as members in this chamber there are very unique tourism aspects to all of our areas. So you'd mentioned that there would be a report that would be coming back to committee. Now, can I just clarify what that report will bring to committee? Is it in relation to an integrated digital tourism communication strategy for this council, or is it an update on your meeting with Northern Ireland Tourism?
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Brian?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Ferguson. In terms of an update report, I would be suggesting it is based on the conversations with Tourism Northern Ireland and where the destinations are going and developing. And I think when we discussed this previously at the council meeting, I think it was last year, that was the agreed approach at that time, rather than a standalone digital strategy, tourism digital strategy. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Councillor Ferguson? Happy enough? Okay, members, I have no further lights on agenda item 3. Moving to agenda item 4, which is the Head of Economic Development report, and we have items for decision at 4.1, the Makers Support Scheme and the Makers Business Network. And over to Nicola, please, on this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And item 4.1 is the Maker Support Scheme and Makers Business Network. You might remember this one. This came before members about 2 months ago, and you asked us to revise it and to make it more inclusive and borough-wide within the theme that it is. So before I go to the recommendation, the easiest way just for me to articulate the programme is around the expected outcomes. So this is a programme that we would really like to run for our borough to try to move makers and people that are maybe not making things in their own backyard or in their own sheds, etc., moving them into premises so that they can scale and they can grow their business. So if I move to the expected outcomes on this, we're calling this a pilot initiative. And we're using a number of measurable outcomes to evaluate the success of the programme. So the programme will accommodate up to 50 micro businesses supported through a programme, and 50 businesses across the whole borough, urban, rural, everywhere, will receive tailored support via the Go Succeed programme. And that would offer up to 10 hours for startups and 21 hours for growth stage businesses as well. And of that 50, 30 new makers would be enabled to scale and grow their business, gaining retail experience in high street locations across the borough town centres. And we know that the 50 will probably move to the 30 because there's always drop off in numbers as well. And then following that programme, we would like members to give consideration to a phase 2 programme of support depending on demand from makers for pop-up schemes across a number of rural towns and villages, with a further budget requirement presented back to members at a further committee meeting. So after the businesses have gone through their training, we're hoping to put them into pop-up shops. So we're looking at 5 vacant retail premises. We're looking to revitalise and rebrand these as pop-up shops, and that would contribute to town and village centre regeneration and increase footfall as well. And then following the programme and throughout the programme, we're going to establish a borough-wide makers network modelled on the success of Food Heartland to deliver targeted business support, to foster collaboration and energise local retail ecosystems. So this is a really circular type programme. So it starts off with training and development, moves into pop-up shops, and then moves into a network that we can build on afterwards. So I'll take you back to the recommendation. So we're recommending that members approve the implementation of the borough-wide Maker Support Programme, the Makers Business Network and Pop-Up Shops Initiative at a cost of £40,000 over 2 financial years. Support the establishment of a borough-wide business network for makers to promote collaboration, skills development and enhance market access, and to note the ongoing collaboration with local enterprise partners to identify suitable premises and develop co-funding arrangements to support the pop-up shop initiative.
Okay, Nicola, thank you for that paper. Number of lights on. Go to Councillor Ian Wilson first.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Nicola, for the report. Happy to support this proposal. It's good to see at the council now we're supporting some artisan and producers and a wee bit of uniqueness bringing to our towns. But the Tier 1 towns, yes, it's fantastic to bring it up, but the next phase I think is vitally important with our smaller towns. It could bring a bit more life to them and support the local communities. A lot of these artisan producers are living in rural areas and maybe from an agricultural background. So I'm just thinking of my own DEA, you have Refrail and Guildford, where a prime opportunity there for some local crafts or producers to avail of this scheme. So this is welcome, but I think now if we can get this all up and running, the phase 2 will be vitally important too for smaller rural towns. So I am happy to propose that we accept this recommendation, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wilson. Next up is Councillor Kyle Savage.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Nicola, for the report. It's great to see us come in front of us here tonight, and it's covering right across from artisan food right to the crafts and all. So it is good that we're covering everything within that and supporting those local businesses and that. And again, if it revitalises a village or a town centre, then it's something we should be working hard on. So happy to support in seconds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Savage. Next up is Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Chair, and totally agree with the comments of my colleagues in the Chamber. I just had 2 questions for clarification, please, Nicola. It refers to the makers as artisan, food, fashion and crafts. I'm just wondering, is local artists included in this? Because I'm very aware that local artists do struggle to get space to be able to display their artwork. Maybe that's the intention, I just didn't get that from the paper. So some clarification on that, or if they can be included as this artisan market that we have developed here. And also then just how do you choose who is part of the scheme for each of the locations that you're proposing? I mean, what we want here is scalable businesses. That is quite difficult to identify in this target market. And how do you choose then, I guess, those who will be placed in the pop-up shops itself? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Going to bring in Nicola.
Okay, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Ferguson, for your question. And I think Elaine and I might be able to answer that between us. You're absolutely right. Artists are included in the definition of the types of individuals and enterprises that we're talking about. So anyone that has something that they produce and they want to sell it, or they want to scale it and they want to sell it, and it is legal, that we would allow them on the programme. And what we find on the programme is that our enterprise partners are a great support for us, and we find that whenever companies or whenever enterprises go through the Go Succeed programme, they come out with a business plan, and they come out with an idea which, you know, sometimes it is self-selecting in that some people think, oh gosh, I'm not really ready for that. Others think, yes, I am. And we'll be relying on our enterprise partners quite a lot, and we would see that very much working the way we used to work with Invest NI, where the enterprise partners, the council and Invest NI would have sat round the table, and we would have discussed all the businesses that were coming from the old Business Start programme, and we would have been able to signpost one on to Invest NI, post somebody on to some other support. So we would see it working very like that. So at the end of cohort, we would look at all the businesses, what they want to do, what their aspirations are. We would, you know, talk with them to see what they want to do, because if they want to be part of this initiative, they have skin in the game as well. They have to pay something towards the rent. So by being very focused on, you know, making sure that people get what they want, but also we get what we want, and working together, we're quite confident we can use previous ways of working to help us meet that requirement.
Okay, Nicola, thank you. And Elaine, are you wanting to? No. Okay, thank you. Councillor Ferguson, happy enough? Okay. Alderman Greenfield.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, was just to add support to this here. Was disappointed it didn't come across the line a couple of months ago. For no, after we brought it, there was some people who have been watching and they were very keen that they would be involved in it. So I think it's great, and it has come back even certainly more inclusive for the smaller areas, which is really, really fantastic. I suppose a wee bit of caution is we won't know who's going to be successful and who's not, but we want to give every business the opportunity to get involved in it. I think a lot of them will come and go and not make it, but there will be the ones that will really shine, and we'll see them in our high street in the future. So I think it's to bear that in mind, as opposed to maybe try, and I know we want to try and sift through and look at all different mechanisms of it, but sometimes the best ideas just come out of that we never thought of or seen. I think that's what's exciting about this programme, that we will do it. So thank you for bringing it forward, and certainly very supportive. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Greenfield. And I didn't really detect the question in there, so thank you. So in terms of the wash-up on this one, proposed by Councillor Ian Wilson, seconded by Councillor Kyle Savage, all in agreement, members? Thank you. Agenda item 4.2, request to receive a presentation on the Employ Me programme. And it's over to Nicola Wilson. Thanks, Nicola.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, their decision required. It is recommended that members agree to receive a presentation from Southern Regional College in partnership with the Clanrye Group, Community Advice, Newrymorn and Down, and Women's Aid, Armagh Down, on the Employ Me programme at a future meeting. Okay,
thank you, Nicola. Members, it's a decision item, so I need a proposer and a seconder, Councillor O'Hanlon, and opposed, and Councillor Kevin Savage to second. All in agreement, members? No other lights. Then 4.3 and 4.4 is information items. Councillor Flaherty.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Sort of two comments, maybe on one on each item, if that's okay with you, Chair. firstly to 4.3, yes, I noticed the comms all went out. I think Halloween was just over and the fairies appeared, as always, on about the 2nd or 3rd of November, which was great. And it's great to see Pour Down Switch On being the first one on the 14th. And more than anything, I suppose, I'm delighted to see Richmond Primary School, my old primary school, topping the bill. It's not the day yesterday I was in it, but I can guarantee you they will be utterly fabulous. Looking forward to seeing them and looking forward to seeing the town full that evening from 6 to 9. And make sure you all go to see wonderful Richmond. The second point, again, without sounding like a broken record, you probably know what I'm going to mention. It is as part of the Christmas programme, the Relax Christmas, folks. It would be absolutely remiss if I probably didn't. Somebody would wonder why I hadn't. One wee point I do want to raise with just regards to the messaging in it, because already the comms went out and it's on the website. I know it's on the website. I have pointed so many people towards that the link on the website, because the tickets aren't released. Can we be so clear? Because I'm getting asked this so many times about when the tickets are released. Just to be clear, it's the 21st of November. And I know it's always a scramble, folks. People ask me for tickets for it. And I wish I could give them out to these families. I genuinely do wish because I remember the first time. See, I'm going to start again here now. I remember the first ever way this ever started back in 2018 with so few families. And to see the work that you have all done to this event to make it what it is now, and how many families you are seeing. And I say it every year, and I know people roll their eyes, and I don't care. But you see any other member in this chamber, Chair, please make it, if you can, just pop in and see what happens in Blairy over those 2 weeks. Because if you don't understand it, you have to see it. So thank you, and thanks in advance to the team that will deliver it, and it'll be spectacular as always. It is a very, very special celebration, but can be so clear about when these tickets are going out, because there's a scramble every year, and I'm getting asked a lot about when the tickets are released. So I don't know whether another wee reminder of the 21st might help, because you're going to be swamped at those 2 times, as you already know. Otherwise, thank you, folks. With regards to number 4.4, if I can, I don't need you to comment on that, but and if I may, Nicola, you referred earlier on in the meeting to a potential shop front scheme, and I was sort of looking at it in the round here. That is probably one of the most things I get asked about in Pour Down Main Street by business owners and Chamber of Commerce when I'm out and about in town. So whatever we can do to advance some sort of a scheme that will help business owners that's such an important wee project for a lot of businesses, and just would help. Whatever we can do, if we can do it, be very, very welcome, very, very gratefully received and welcomed.
Okay, Councillor Flaherty, thank you. On 4.3, first of all, I'm looking at officers and Nicola or Elaine. Nicola, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Flaherty. And yes, you're right, the Relaxed Christmas, or the Silent Christmas, whatever you want to call it, is a very special moment in the calendar for officers as well. We love to see the families coming in and getting that special time. The 45 minutes that they're allocated each is just really precious to them, and we just love to see that. And we're so excited to be part of it, and we're so thankful that Council supports it and have the foresight to see that and how inclusive it is. The tickets go on sale on the 21st of November. And I know that there is always that's always an eagerly anticipated date, but 21st of November, they go on sale. But no, we're looking forward to it, and it is a great event. Thank you for that.
Okay, Nicola, thank you. Very quickly, Councillor Flaherty.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your indulgence. Again, in the report, it mentions Mobilue and the mat. Is that a hard in, or is that our mat? Is that our mat, or is it because it's so in demand elsewhere in the borough? There's one coming in. As long as it's there, I don't care where it's coming from, to be honest. but just to be clear on what the facility is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Flaherty. And we're still in 4.3, so Nicola? Okay. Now, in terms, we'll not go to 4.4 until I get clarity from Councillor O'Hanlon. Are you on 4.3 or 4.4? Okay, right. Well, then you tear away then, and then we'll come back again. Councillor O'Hanlon.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Nicola, for the report, and to express my thanks to Noreen and the team who've engaged with us around planning for Christmas in Katy. We're all eagerly anticipating what sort of tree we'll get this year. It was mentioned to me even at the weekend, so I've already put that marker down, so let's just see where it goes. But look, I do want to thank the team involved, and just picking up on the mat facility in the first instance, can we get confirmation it's available in Armagh on Georgian Day? Just need to make sure, because that's whenever the town, and the irony is the town centre is the one place in Armagh where we don't have one, and the amount of families and parents who contact you on a regular basis, so if we can just get confirmation that, and I do welcome the efforts about extending the down into the shambles and stuff, so thank you to Brian and the team for the engagement on that. So just in relation to that, Chair, that's where I am. Just wanted to thank that. I'm happy to move on, or do you want to take... okay.
Okay, Councillor Hanlon, thank you. On your last point, going to bring in Brian.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor O'Hanlon, for the question. Yes, the mat toilet is booked for Georgian Day.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brian. And in terms of the final on 4.3, are we done there, officers? There's nothing else that we need to say on 4.3. Okay, so then 4.4 then. And I'm going to bring in Elaine or Nicola. Or, Sarah Jane. In fact, Sarah Jane.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, members. Councillor Flaherty, in response to your question about shop fronts, they will not be included in this call of the grant, just to be very, very clear. Unfortunately, due to time frame that's required to enable shops to do that, but it's something we'll definitely be keen to explore in future iterations. This money must be fully spent and processed by the end of March, but hopefully in future iterations we'll be able to explore things like that. And just to recap, that this fund will be supporting the purchase of new equipment or machinery, contributing towards business productivity, growth or efficiency, and computer equipment and software. So it's a 50% grant up to £5,000, which is fully funded by council, with the business providing the match funding. So hopefully that just clarifies that point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Jane, for that. You know, you talked about your Pura downtown centres, Councillor Farley. You just have to have a walk around Dromore Square. But anyhow, someone who's going to perhaps go there is Councillor Savage.
Apologies, Chair, I'm loaded with a cold here, but anyway. No, it's great to see this here. 4.4 is a great initiative. After the rural business one there, we've seen the demand there was from businesses, and you know, it's a good news story for this council. So, and you know, that's shout about it and get it out there on shop fronts. And just to remind everybody that Dromore has the highest level of derelict and vacant buildings within this council area. So we'll get that in again. So thank you, Chair.
Indeed we will, Councillor Savage. Councillor O'Hanlon, are you wanting back in again? Thank you.
Please, Chair, and thank you. And like I was wondering what the real difference. This is basically the rural development scheme that just closed last week, but it's now for the bigger towns and villages, because it seems to be the same sort of criteria, the same sort of elements and costs and stuff available. So look, it's a welcome addition. Just like Councillor Flaherty, in relation to shop fronts, but I think it's something that I'd be keen that we include as part of the rate setting process as well. And more than just the the actual shopfront scheme. One of the most impactful schemes that I'd actually seen was actually the smaller scheme. The one in round, now we rolled it out as part of the EI schemes. It was about £750 per premises, but it was a lick of paint at the front, and the impact that made in town centres, it was easier for businesses to access. It gave a lot of painters and decorators a lot of work in our towns and villages, but that small £750 grant was really, really impactful. And the number of businesses then that could avail of it, we were getting more bang for our buck, so I'd be keen if something could be brought back. I understand the limitations in this, but be keen that it be brought back as part of the process for the next financial year. And including in that, just have we any indication from the department around support for, the like of the meanwhile occupied type schemes again, or the empty to occupied? I think there was a couple of different iterations of the scheme. I know I've had a couple of contacts, particularly around Armagh city centre, coming down Ogle Street and into Thomas Street, parts of the city that didn't benefit from the townscape heritage scheme. So maybe if officers could come back to it at either now or at a later point, and just reach out to the departments and see if there's some support there. So thank you.
Okay, Councillor O'Hanlon, thank you. I'm looking to my left. Any officer? Yeah, going to bring in Head of Economic Development, Nicola.
Thank you, Chair. I know there are discussions afoot with the corporate PMO with regard to a programme that Council will put forward to the Department for the Communities on their forward work plan. They were previous funders of those empty to occupied and the other programmes you mentioned as well. So I know that is very much in the mind of the head of that department. And I know that he's pushing forward with that. That comes under the corporate PMO department.
Okay, Nicola, thank you for that. Okay, members, those were items for information. I have no further hands or lights, so move on. Agenda item 5, Head of Tourism, Arts and Culture report. We have a number of items for information. We also have a number of officers in the room, and they're going to give a 2-minute summation of what's going on in their world. So we'll start off with 5.1, the Historical Environment Fund letter of offer. I'm going to bring in Shane Cleland, please. Shane.
Thank you, Chair, and evening members. And this is just a good news story and an update on a previous report that was brought in September, where we indicated to members that we would apply for funding from the Historic Environment Fund to look at the potential for a heritage-led regeneration scheme for Dromore that Councillor Savage has rightly raised earlier in the meeting. So we have been successful in that request to Historic Environment Division, and they've agreed to award us £10,000 towards the cost of doing the feasibility study around the potential for a heritage-led regeneration scheme. And under that scheme, we will look at a number of key properties in Dromore Town Centre. So it's just to make members aware that funding application was successful. Thank you.
Okay, Shane, thank you so much for that. And I suppose I would have to declare an interest as one of the councillors representing Dromore, so it is excellent news. And I'm going to bring in Councillor Kyle Savage.
Thank you, Chair. And similar to yourself, one of the local councillors, and I'm sure you'll agree with me that it is much needed within Dromore. And it is an area of, I believe, has the potential for rapid growth over this next 5 to 10 years. But I want to put on record, Shane, all your work in the area. I know you've worked hard in bringing this about, and Brian as well, in the various meetings that you've held. So I just want to put on record my thanks for that. And indeed, all the owners within the town centre in Dromore, because we all know the potential here, and it's important that we get this sorted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, members. Conscious of my 2 minutes. This is just the quarterly report of the arts, culture and heritage facilities across the borough. Obviously, each of the 4 venues continues providing a diverse, high-quality programme of activities that attract visitors locally and from further afield. And break them down into individuals. Armagh County Museum, over that course of the 3 months, welcomed almost 2,500 visitors. I suppose the Lace and Legacy exhibition was a sort of standout feature, which celebrated Ulster and Irish lace heritage and contemporary lace design, and it also included a number of Meet the Maker days, which was bringing traditional craft to life for the visitors. The F.E. McWilliam Gallery, which is still undergoing its redevelopment. The redevelopment works are still on schedule and due for completion in August next year. But they had an exhibition by Barbara Freeman, a retrospective, and she's an international reputation, and bringing that to our local audiences was something special. Within the marketplace, we had about 36 performances, workshops, etc., and we welcomed over 12,000 visitors. The John Hewitt Summer School, which takes place every summer, was, I suppose, a key highlight, and I suppose within that, the appearance of Sir Ian Rankin was something that was quite special. And the Summer School in particular is a special event in that it does provide a great boost in a difficult period for the hospitality sector in the city. And then the Navan Centre in Fort had a particularly busy summer, with over 3,200 people attending ticketed events, and but over 13,500 visitors in total. The Wicker Man Gathering had its busiest ever year, with over 1,000 attendees, and their education programmes also brought in over 1,000 pupils, which I suppose reinforces their commitment and the Council's commitment to learning and heritage. Thank you.
Okay, Vinnie, thank you so much for that. Going to bring in Councillor Ian Wilson.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for that report. All these venues are very positive and welcome. They seem to be going strong. Just sort of maybe to tie back to the item 4.1 for our maker support programme, I think some smaller venues, especially I think of Banbridge Old Town Hall, where upstairs in it is a fantastic venue. To me, it's very much underutilised. You could have local artists, whatever medium they use, displaying their works there. It always was a very well-used venue, especially on a Saturday. It brought people into the town. It was very much used for coffee mornings and things like that. And I think it's definitely a very much an underutilised space in the middle of Banbridge Town Centre. All these large venues are fantastic, but I think we're missing a trick, and I think we need to look at that space in particular to open it up again on a Saturday for artists or community organisations to be using. It brings people into town. It shows people's works off or whatever they're doing, or a charity organisation, and brings footfall into the town to hopefully support local businesses as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson, for your question. I think what's happened over the last number of years, a number of staff have left that role, and obviously downstairs is community advice now, so it is solely upstairs. The member of staff that we have in that role, I think, is on a 17-hour-a-week contract, so again is completely utilised and probably at times working over that. So a lot of evenings and daytime with scheduled groups. There are a number of really important community groups and charity organisations that he services during the week. So again, if there was a request to look at that, I'm happy to take it away, but it will, we'll need to look at the resource around that too. But at the minute, the officer who's in post is completely utilised and is additionally doing a lot more activities and events up at the Bronte Centre as well, which is, I know a number of other members have sort of raised. So yeah, so it'll need a proper look at a resource for that.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Councillor Wilson, you happy with that? Yeah. Okay, Councillor O'Hanlon, you're up now.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just and first, thanks, Vinny, for the report. Two things. It was remiss of me last month not to thank Brian and the team in relation to the event that was held in Navan during the summer as part of the John and Pat Hume Foundation. I know they were really impressed by the venue, but also by the professionalism of our staff. So and everybody went above and beyond. So I just want to acknowledge that. Last night I mentioned it as part of the community committee in relation to, and I suppose it's picking up on something similar as Alderman Wilson or Councillor Wilson, I don't know, but in relation to using some of our smaller venues. And I did raise the issue of the TMAC in Katy, Portadown Town Hall and Lurgan Town Hall. And what my issue was, we had a very successful Tommy Makem festival. Okay, I get it as community led, but even if council could host something once a quarter in each of these venues to try and drive footfall, and it actually be linked back through the Marketplace Theatre as part of nearly like an outreach programme. I understand to do some of the arts activities and stuff like that, but even hosting some events or concerts or shows, I'm not asking for a commitment, but at least I think if it could be way and looked at, and even a pilot done during the next year to see if it's feasible. But I know that the venue in Katy on Friday and Saturday night was full, with Derry Farrell on Friday night and Conor Mallon on Saturday night. I'd just love to see more of that, that the council actually complement the community, as it were, as opposed to the other way around. But happy for those other venues of a similar size to be included as well. So, but look, Vinny, thank you for the report, and I know I hear Chindan already talking about going to the Panto. And good luck with everything that comes up in the months ahead. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor O'Hanlon. That'll be enough. Then, Councillor Flaherty.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Vincent, for the report. So, I don't want to repeat myself. You know probably what I'm going to say. But it is great to see, it genuinely is, Simon, conflict of interest, I suppose, declaration. I'm involved in an arts organisation in Portadown, and everybody knows. But it is great to see Armagh and Banbridge doing so well and being so well showcased, particularly in the absence of such facilities and their promotion in Portadown, Craigavon and Lurgan. Bit like what I've said this to you before, and you brought a great report about our community arts, and that's fine. But it probably is actually along the same lines what I'm getting, as both Councillor Wilson and now Councillor O'Hanlon has said. I think just there are lots of venues and town halls across. Maybe without being parochial, like our colleague here, Councillor Savage, talking about Dromore. There's probably somewhere lovely in Dromore too, but I know there are there's some lovely places in Portadown, Lurgan and Craigavon that could be used. But just on if I may, you're talking, and I remember many years in going to Banbridge Old Town Hall to fundraisers, and there was thousands, and when you know what I mean, colleague here, there was thousands and thousands of pounds worth of money for charity raised in that place alone by families that I know, and well-attended events. And you're right, Alderman Wilson, brought hundreds and hundreds of people into Banbridge. The staff come up to them, and I remember it like it was yesterday. And we do actually, if again you'll indulge me, there's a coffee morning being held by our Deputy Lord Mayor on Friday in Portadown Town Hall for her Pretty in Pink charity, a local charity in Portadown. And I am so glad. I can't remember the time. Is it 10 to 12? Just when I'm on it. 10 to 12. So to say, but I'm using that as an example more than anything of how some of those, I know it's not maybe not your department, but it's on to what my colleagues are saying. It's opening these buildings up again for wider community use. I think that people know that they can use them for that purpose. I think maybe is the point that both my colleagues here and myself are making. But like, I've been to the venues in Armagh. I've been to some of those that you've said about John. They're fantastic. Navan Fort now, you know my feeling on it.
Yeah,
It's
you
a fun.
love it.
I love. Oh, you know, I love it. But you know, it does what it says on the tin. You know, and fair play to you. You do work very hard in that area. So I'm not making any apologies for fighting for it on my own. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Councillor Flaherty, thank you. I'm going to bring in Brian Johnson now. Brian.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Flaherty. No, just wanted to make the point. I mean, with Paul's directorate, we're trying to sit down closely with community development, with economic development, with with leisure to sort of see how do we maximise the use of venues. That is something we're actively looking at. I think as Councillor Wilson identified, and like the Bronte is another one that you could talk about. There are a number of sites is how we maximise the use of them. So I think that is something as a directorate we're looking at, as opposed to and typically, I think in the past, in all honesty, we probably looked at them within departments, but I think the aim is to look at them more at a directorate basis to make the most of them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Alderman Burns, you're up next.
Thank you, Chair. And just to agree with my colleagues previously, I think there are a number of venues within the borough that could be more used more often. And I think one in particular, the one in the town centre in Banbridge, I know that the likes of Lurgan and the Portadown have their town halls, but the one in Banbridge right smack bang in the middle of the town centre. And when the coffee mornings and things were on, exhibitions have been on there before. The art club that was in Banbridge, they used to have exhibitions there, but it brought more footfall into the town centre, and I think that's what it's all about. Same with Keady, same with Portadown, same with Dermore. There are venues that we need to be using more and more. If we don't have the staff for them, it's time we increase the number of staff or the hours that are there. It has to be done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Burns. Alderman Greenfield, you're in next.
Thank you, Chair. And it's just on the same vein there. And I think the slight distinction in a lot of these are sometimes with buildings and we're not sure, and we talk about different things, what we could use them for and what we've done in it. But I think the point about the Old Town Hall, particularly in Banbridge, all we have to do is open it and have a member of staff there, and it brings in thousands of pounds for different charities in the community. And I think isn't something's going on probably since, to be honest, since we were COVID times. And I know, Brian, there's a group I've emailed you and you've agreed earlier in the year, but this group, it was the only reason the fund is a fibromyalgia group to have it there. They use the hall for other things, but it's the only way of getting funds in the year, and they actually just thought they couldn't use it any longer, only it came up in conversation. So I'm not sure of anybody's proposal, but I would propose that we do bring a report back of how we are going to have, even to bring staff across from other places or whatever, because I think it's important. We're not talking about an initial thing of actually having to organise events in it. It's only a matter of actually the community being able to use it for coffee mornings and fundraisers, because they raised thousands, as Councillor Flaherty has said, over many years. So I would propose that we do bring that back as a matter of urgency, if we can, that we're looking into the number of staff that would be available or transfer across, because I know there is a change of staff likely to come there very quickly, Brian, and we just need to see how we could progress that quickly, if that's possible. Thank you.
Okay, Alderman Greenfield. Yes, certainly. I rector in my ear say, yeah, happy to certainly have a look at that, and we'll keep the proposal very much in mind. Councillor Kevin Savage.
Thank you very much, Chair, and Brian, for that information and Vinny for your report. Just in terms of the usage of the town hall venues, it'd be interesting as part of that report that Alderman Greenfield asked for, if we could have details of events been used in them, because I did contact Banbridge Town Hall, and it's quite difficult to get a booking during the day, so it would be interesting just to see the bookings that are already in the town halls across the borough. So if we could have that as part of that report, Chair, I'm happy to propose if it's needed for Alderman Greenfield's proposal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Savage. Okay, moving on, Councillor Ian Wilson, you're in next.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know whether my colleague Alderman Greenfield's proposal had been seconded by Councillor Savage. I don't know, or was that sort of an add-on to the proposal? Oh, right. No, I just come in to seconds it. I think,
right, yeah.
You know, I initially spoke about Banbridge Town Hall, but obviously other elected representatives here from other areas, there is venues that could be very much put to better use, And as I say, Banbridge Town Hall is a prime example of it over the years, bringing in thousands for local charities, bringing footfall into the town, and having local artists using it to display their works right in the heart of Banbridge Town. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Flaherty, you're up next.
Oh, I could probably, no, again, it was to come in second, but on the back of what was asked there, I believe some of those figures with regards to the usage of some of the town halls, a bit like what was said earlier, it's the departments crossing over. So those figures are there. But that only, I suppose, tells us what's coming, not what we're doing to drive more. But I don't think it's going to be difficult if departments talk to each other.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Councillor Ferguson, you're in next.
Thank you, Chair. No, I'll be brief because I think members have adequately covered most of that. Really support this. The Old Town Hall absolutely screams community and has done for many years, and to see it become part of the life in Banbridge would be brilliant. My only comment here is that resourcing is really important, but there is a development role that is needed for this resourcing position so that they develop those particular venues that members have asked about tonight. It's not just someone there to facilitate events. If we want these venues to come back to life and contribute to the regeneration of our towns, there needs to be a resourcing role that has a development role within that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Alderman Greenfield, you're up next.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, it was just to say I was happy and contented the report that Councillor Savage added was there, but like Councillor Flaherty said, I don't want us to base our decisions on that because we all know that we haven't tried to push them for quite a while. We haven't the resource there to be opened. It could be open every Saturday morning with things going on, and I think there's a two-pronged approach here because I'm not content that we're just going to wait till somebody to come in and develop this. I really like staff to be there to use it now for those who do want to use it, and then further on. But I know we could be there most Saturday mornings, so I'd rather that we are able to hit the ground running fairly quickly for community groups to start using it, and then we can develop more on as part of this moves forward. But I think my initial point was more about how we have a member staff there I believe is maybe not going to be there much longer due to retirement and stuff, and that we haven't, and he is maxed out at the amount of hours, so it's just to make sure we had other hours available, so when these requests come in we are able to fulfil them as sort of was getting. But happy for the report that Councillor Savage asked for to be brought in as well. Thank you.
Okay, Alderman Greenfield, thank you. Members, I have at least three more members, so I'm going to call you all, and then I'm going to bring Paul in, and we're going to wrap this up. Councillor O'Hanlon, you're up next.
Yeah, Chair. Look, and apologies for opening the hornet's nest, but my issue is around the Katy, the Portadown, and the Lurgan, because those facilities have an arts element in them already. And that's so. I think it's important. I recognise the work that Councillor Greenfield and others are looking for in relation to opening up the venue in Banbridge. But to me, there's two different elements. One, there's the opening up for the basics, and then there's the second where we have facilities that we could use. And it's not about reinventing the wheel. To me, there would be offshoots of the Marketplace Theatre, even by way of you book through the Marketplace Theatre in terms of the box office or whatever. So that's where it is, and I just think there's potential small quick wins if we do it through those processes. But look, I appreciate everybody's contribution in relation to it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor O'Hanlon, for that, and your comments have been noted. Councillor Ferguson, you're back in.
Chair, very briefly, it was just to clarify my point earlier around the development. The development that I meant was enrol with the person who is in the venue. I think we would all like to see this start as soon as possible, but the development definition is for someone in that role to actively go out and ensure that those facilities are being used rather than community organisations coming to them to try and book them. So just a point of clarity on the development end.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. And I'm going to bring in actor Paul.
Thank you, Chair, and members more than happy to bring a report back to get into the detail, clarify that. I suppose there is a point of difference, if you like, in things like Lurgan, the likes of Katie and the likes of Portadown Town Hall compared to Banbridge in terms of it sits under community and wellbeing, the town halls. There is a very proactive development program that's in place with our community development section. And Nathan, who presented a report last night, actually community wellbeing went through that development program. We will certainly bring a report back to look at that and how we can utilise things a wee bit better cross-directorate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. So, basic members, washing up on 5.2, proposed by Alderman Greenfield, seconded by Councillor Cavan Savage in terms of bringing back the report, and hopefully we have captured in terms of some of the stuff that we need in the report. So, all agreed members on that? Yeah. 5.3, Tourism NI Corporate Plan, Brian. It's for noting, members, if there are any questions or queries, do shout now. Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Chair. And I just wanted to ask Brian a question on the tourism plan. So we can see that events are central to the tourism strategy, you know, as a driver to the visitor economy, overnight stays, spend at an event, etc. And they also have an events fund. I just wanted to get an update on tourism's thoughts around applying to the events fund to develop our signature events. We are waiting for an evaluation report to come back at some point to this committee. I think there is support for developing all of the signature events, and based on this report, you know, events is a major strategic objective and priority for Northern Ireland tourism. Just to get your thoughts and an update on that, please, Brian.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Brian.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Previously, Tourism Northern Ireland had a national events fund, of which we were able to get a number of events funded through, and they also have an international events fund. Now, in the last number of years, the national events fund has gone as their funding has been cut, so they only have an international event fund stream at the moment, and the only event that gets funding through that is Georgian Festival, because it's the only event of a scale. So this is the first year we've got international events funding for that. So again, to actually get more of our signature events at that stage would require an awful lot of investment. But again, that's obviously something we're looking at as part of the events working group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Councillor Ferguson, you happy with that? Okay. All right, members. There's no further speakers on 5.3, and just to sort of step back for a moment to 5.1, and I'm going to bring in the director, Paul, please.
Thank you, Chair. I suppose just for a point of governance, officers have brought the 5.1 letter of office decision as an information item. We feel it should be a decision item, and we're just, if members are minded, would like to seek a proposer and a seconder for that item.
Okay, members, you've heard the director, Councillor Savage, Councillor Kelsap.
Happy to propose, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Savage. Alderman Greenfield.
Yeah, Chair, happy to second.
Okay, thank you, members. You've heard proposed and seconded. All in agreement? Thank you. Councillor Armstrong, your light's on?
No.
From a previous life, thank you. Agenda item 6, correspondence. There is none. I have to seek a proposer and a seconder to go into committee for consideration of confidential items of business. Councillor Ferguson proposed. Councillor O'Kane seconded. Members and online viewers, in accordance with Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act exempt information, we will now be moving into the confidential session of the committee. This means that we will be turning off the public feed of the meeting. This will be returned when the meeting is restarted. Can I ask ICT officers to please turn off the feed and confirm with me when the confidential section of the meeting can proceed? Thanks, Tiernan. So I now need a proposer and a seconder to agree the recommendations that were made in committee. Councillor Lavery, Councillor O'Hanlon, which moves us nicely on, members, to item number 8, any other business, and happily there are no items of any other business. So we've been mindful that there is a workshop after this meeting. I would thank you all for your participation and wish you a safe journey home. Thanks, members.